Chapter 397. Bad News. Brahma heart sniffed in awe. This time little gold was considered lucky. 12 precious divine elemental dans were taken by him alone, instantly allowing him to advance to the peak of the 9th level of the divine separation stage realm, and his strength grew to a terrifying level. Now it was Kangxia who was no match for Zijin. The great circle of the divine separation stage isn't enough. Your kid is not lacking in cultivation now. You should properly comprehend the way of the arcane mysteries in the future. A familiar voice suddenly came. However, it was Kangxia who opened his eyes and looked at little gold and laughed. At the same time, the entire immortal mansion shuddered, and at the edge of the 9 heavens mirage realm, the formations outside the immortal mansion instantly disappeared, and the true Broken Dawn immortal mansion was revealed. Appearing in front of the 6 harmonization stage Seal King powerhouses. Instantly, the 6 harmonization stage Seal King powerhouses from the righteous and devilish sects were furious as their eyes instantly locked dead onto the vibrating Broken Dawn immortal mansion. Brother, you made it. Hearing Kangxion's familiar body, Zijin was instantly filled with excitement. At this moment, the huge stone tablet of the inner mansion had long since disappeared. At the side, Kangxia also slowly opened his eyes, his face full of smiles. Seeing this, Brahma Heart and Little Gold greeted together and asked about the inheritance situation of the dawn-breaking scattered immortal. There's no rush. Wait for me to deliver the little girl first. Facing Brahma Heart and Little Gold's inquiry, Kangxia smiled faintly, and then, with a thought, the space in front of him was steeply torn apart. In the next moment, Brahma Heart and Little Gold saw a flustered Zhaolinga fall out of the spatial crack. Who is it? Who dares to offend this young lady? ... double quotes the little girl immediately shouted. During these days, because there was no way to get out of the dawn-breaking immortal mansion, even her hyperactive nature had to choose to cultivate in seclusion. But how could she have thought that she would suddenly be torn into the spatial rift by a force today, causing her to be incomparably flustered and somewhat annoyed? Ha. Seeing this girl's flustered appearance, Zijin instantly laughed out loud, and even Van Ding couldn't help but smile. As soon as Zhaolinga saw Kangxion's trio, she instantly knew that they had already obtained the inheritance, and at that moment, she rushed at Kangxia and said in annoyance, "Damned little white boy, quickly bring out the treasure for this young lady." While saying that, she also waved her 2 small fists. Looking at that pair of fierce eyes, it seemed as if she wanted to strike at any time. Kangxia also didn't bother to talk nonsense with her, directly throwing some magic treasures over, laughing, "Here's the king-grade treasure weapons and extreme-grade treasure weapons of your own choice." Saying that, he no longer paid any attention to her and began to carefully comprehend the inheritance of the dawn-breaking scattered immortal. This time, not only had he refined the inner mansion's stone tablets and gained control of the dawn-breaking immortal mansion, he had also obtained the inheritance left behind by the dawn-breaking scattered immortal at the stone tablet. There were many legacies left behind by the Broken Dawn scattered immortal, the most important of which was the formation legacy, where the Broken Dawn scattered immortal's lifelong research on formations had been brought together, which was absolutely priceless. However, Kangxia wasn't interested in formations, so he made 2 copies of it, one to Emperor Dan and one to Zhaolinga. The little girl was very fond of the Dawnbreaker scattered immortal's formation inheritance, and for the sake of these formation inheritances, the little girl decided to magnanimously spare Kangxia. In addition to the formation inheritance, Dawnbreaker scattering immortal also had a powerful aptitude. That was the 13 heaven-breaking chop, a sword aptitude created by Dawnbreaker scattering immortal throughout his life, which was so powerful that it could be called the #1 sword path in the Flood continent, like Kangxion's creation of the 3 styles of the hegemony blade, and the heaven-breaking 13 chop. That is absolutely how far away from how far away. Cannot be compared to our. In fact, with Kang Chon's current age, being able to create a blade Dao like the Overlord blade was already considered good. As for trying to compare himself to the Dawnbreaker Scattered Immortal, that was completely unrealistic. Kang Tia himself was a sword maker, and was very fond of this heaven-breaking 13 chop. If he wasn't in a hurry to go out and meet his eldest senior brother, he really wanted to stay in this Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion to study the sword technique. Even Fandin also said, with an envious face, rumor has it that the heaven-breaking 13 chopping is stronger than one slash. My master once said that the last slash of the heaven-breaking 13 chopping simply has the power to exterminate immortals and slay demons, and even immortal artifacts are able to resist it. This divine ability is simply tailored for brother. Once brother learnt the heaven-breaking 13 chop, wouldn't he be invincible in the world? Little Jin smiled proudly, looking as if it was him who had learnt the heaven-breaking 13 chop. Kang Tia smiled unscolded. That's as esoteric as you say. The Flood Continent is a vast land with countless various immortal mansions and relics. The heaven-breaking 13 chop can only be said to be very powerful above the Tao of the Blade. But it doesn't mean that it's the most powerful amongst all the divine abilities. That's true. Like Brother's Heaven Escaping Hand and Overlord Fist are not worse than the heaven-breaking 13 chop. But the Overlord Fist is incomplete, and the power of the Heaven Escaping Hand increases with the cultivation enhancement. So Brother's most powerful right now is still this heaven-breaking 13 chop. Little Gold laughed. That will have to wait until I learnt it. Kang Tia shook his head and continued, well, it has been 7 or 8 years since we entered the Immortal Mansion. Eldest senior brother must be waiting impatiently, so we'd better go out first. Little Gold and Fandin nodded at his words. The conversation between the few people was but a few moments long, and by the time they ended their conversation, the formations outside the Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion had all disappeared, thus revealing the true Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion. Because of the Devil Dao's siege on eldest brother, the original Breaking Dawn Immortal Mansion was dyed blood red, but at this moment, as the Breaking Dawn Immortal Mansion was refined by Kang Tia, the white light that rushed through the sky cleansed all the blood and water from the top of the Breaking Dawn Immortal Mansion. Instantly, a white jade immortal mansion, surrounded by immortal light, was situated at the edge of the 9 heavens illusion realm. Even though it was not guarded by an array formation, the Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion was after all an imperial grade treasure, and at this moment, under Kang Chon's urging, it was emitting a faint white light, fending off the surrounding spatial storms. A good Breaking Dawn Immortal Mansion, truly extraordinary. Seeing such an overwhelmingly beautiful immortal mansion, even the 6 harmonization stage seal king bigwigs, hidden in the void, couldn't help but show greed on their faces. For them conjunction stage seal king powerhouses, an imperial treasure artifact was already precious, let alone an immortal mansion. I'm afraid that the Immortal Mansion Palace that Elder Cultivator resided in was nothing more than that, if not even close. After all, this was something that the Dawn-breaking Scattered Immortal had painstakingly refined. It must be known that every formation Grandmaster, at the same time, would not be much worse in terms of refining artifacts. And because of this, the Dawn-breaking Scattered Immortal's fame was so great that it could almost be called the first Scattered Immortal since 10,000 years. It's a pity that this Immortal Mansion is not for us to enjoy. The most we can get from it is just a king-grade treasure weapon. A few conjunction stage seal kings thought secretly. They all knew very well that even if they seized them, they would have to be surrendered to their sex, and with their status, they were not worthy of enjoying such a good immortal mansion at all. Only figures like Elder War and Elder Cultivator could enjoy it. Just as the several encompassing stage seal kings marveled at the Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion, within the Immortal Mansion, Kang Chia also passed through the immortal mansion and viewed the situation outside. The first thing Kang Chia saw was the mountains of bones outside the edge of the nine heavens mirage realm. From the powerful aura emanating from these bones, he could imagine how powerful these people were in the past. At least they were also harmonization stage existences. And when Kang Chia took a glance, it was really a mountain of corpses and bones. Blood flowed into a river. It was simply a piece of cultivated hell. My God, how many people should die? When Kang Chia transmitted the situation outside through the water mirror technique to Fan Din, Zijin, and the others to see, several people were stunned. The lowest cultivation of these people is a harmonization stage powerhouse, and looking at the wounds they died from, they all seem to have been cut by someone with a single slash. It should have been eldest senior brother who struck. Van Ding came back from his shock and analyzed calmly. Where's eldest senior brother? Little Gold asked somewhat anxiously. And this was also what Kang Chia wanted to know. He scanned the surrounding area through his divine thoughts and did not find the figure of the eldest senior brother. His heart sank as he said, I can't find the eldest senior brother. But there is no corpse of the eldest senior brother here. The eldest senior brother should be fine.